Here is the grid lineup for race 2 for the BNT V8s. John McIntyre and Tim Edgell off the front row. Back to row number 2, and it's Craig Beard lining up alongside the first Holden, Paul Manuel.
Now back to row number 3, we see Angus Fogg and Andy Knight, both hard chargers. We know we can see some big things from those guys when the fireworks need to come out. Then we've got Kane Scott and Jason Bargwana, first time up, straight into the top 10, good effort.
Kane Scott with a few little dramas towards the end of the first race. Scott McLaughlin, excellent first up effort. He starts from grid 9 alongside Simon Richards. And then we go back to John Penny and Nick Ross, and all Holden row for grids 11 and 12.
And we start working back to Eddie Bell. We know those guys are working overtime to try to get a good speed. And John Hepburn, good result actually, and the grid replace is reflective. Hayden McKenzie, Andrew Anderson. That's just a really disappointing effort for him.
We go back to Christina Orr and David Hopper lining up in 17th and 18th position. And the last couple of rows, William Bamber, he had some issues towards the end of the race. Andy Booth with a broken tie rod. And then we go back to Martin Short all the way back in 21st. Beautiful conditions here at Pukekohe. We saw a quick glimpse there of Hayden McKenzie. He's struggling, racing with a broken hand sustained in a motocross accident going back a few weeks ago. So he's struggling with it as we're on board with Kane Scott. He blistered a left front tyre right at the end of the first race. So tyres, could they be an issue in the heat with the setup changes to these cars as we head down to the green? Race 2 for the BNT V8s from Pukekohe. McIntyre and Edgell side by side down into turn number 1.
Yeah, look, we spoke to Johnny McIntyre. He said in race 1 they dropped the lights so early, he actually thought there was a power outage. It
started in 2. John Hepburn was in the middle of it.
Now, I think there's another car off to the side there, if I'm not too mistaken, but either way, big hit.
There was lots of dust and dirt up in the air down through turn 1. Race 1 was clean, but I think it started already here at the start of race number 2. McIntyre got the jump this time. Edgell won the first start, and Edgell's now on the prowl with Beard and Angus Fogg with a great start up into the 4th position.
Spoke to Angus, he said he just wanted to get race 1 under his belt, get some points. Now he's in aggressive attack mode. We see that straight away, but interestingly, Jamie, they're starting these races very early. Normally the cars are almost at the start-finish line. They're starting them as they're coming under the bridge, so they're hitting turn 1 maybe 50 or 60k quicker than they're used to.
On board with Paul Manuel, he's lost a spot to Angus Fogg. You can see the attitude of Fogg's car sideways up over the forward mountain on the onboard from Paul Manuel. McIntyre leads first flying lap, a 1:02.5 for the race leader. Look at the debris down there through turn number 1, and McIntyre's the first one to have to go through it. Manuel with a big handful of opposite lock. That unsettled the Oryx Commodore.
Yeah, look, that debris is a nightmare as well, because you say Johnny McIntyre, he's the pioneer for these guys. He's kind of sweeping the road. Here's Boothie making a few places up on lap 1. William Bamber doing the same as well. But look, there's a lot of carbon fibre there. Carbon fibre is a very sharp material. We know these guys are in tyre trouble anyway, so let's hope it doesn't make any damage to them.
Let's have a look at the replay off the start. You just see Edgell just trying to crowd McIntyre down. Then he thought, no, I've got to concede this. There's still a lot of work to do. Let's see what happens further back. It was Hepburn. Oh, he's got sideways down the inside of Eddie Bell. I don't know if there was a touch. It's just nosed off the Armco with the front of the race car.
Now here we go, Andrew Anderson. Oh yeah, look, Andrew Anderson going down the inside. There's nowhere to go, Andrew. You know that's a waste of time, that trying to do that position change. So why you're there, I don't know, but the rest of it unfolded as we saw.
Well, that could have been a lot worse than it was. Anderson and the ITM team just struggling with car balance at the moment. They're just trying to get their head around these new changes with the roll centres on the Holdens for the start of the new season.
Yeah, they're all suffering from the same thing, but there's no doubt as the season comes on, they get that information under their belt, they're going to be a very strong package.
Craig Beard, fastest driver on track at a 61.8. Angus Fogg, though, in behind him, the only other driver in the 61s with a 61.9 on lap number 3. Race 2 for the BNT V8s, on board with Kane Scott, who's lost some positions. He's back down in the 7th spot. Blistering a tyre towards the end of a 12-lap first race. They've got to have some setup issues they've got to get their heads around for the rest of the weekend.
Yeah, I might actually be able to work our way through this and explain why some of the teams think they're having so many mechanical failures. When we get to the other part of the track, going through the sequence of corners, there's a set of tyres placed there. They're strategically placed so the guys don't actually run over the curbs, but what it's doing, it's making the drivers hit the curb, and when the cars land, it's putting so much loading on, they think that's what's breaking the steering arms and also causing the undue wear on the tyres. Yeah,
well, Kane Scott, we've seen him with dramas as John Hepburn's come out of the pit lane right in front of the race leaders on lap number 5.
Look, guys, start using the radios to John Hepburn. That's unfair on John, releasing him in the middle of this pack, because look what's going on.
Mayhem. Beard takes the opportunity and gets by Tim Edgell. Wrong place, wrong time. Oh, Johnny Hepburn's just got released out of pit lane right in front of the race leaders. That's cost Tim Edgell a spot. Baird seizing the opportunity.
Yeah, look, nothing to do with John Hepburn. He was released. He's doing what he's meant to do, get out on the racetrack. Unfortunately, he picked up the leaders at the wrong possible place.
And that's let John McIntyre get away from the chasing bunch. Craig Baird covering Edgell. Oh, stepping out under brakes. Fogg to the outside. Edgell carrying some rear bumper damage to the Chester's Ford. So Edgell trying to recover. He lost some momentum getting tied up in lap traffic with Hepburn coming back out of the pits. For a moment there, I thought he was trying to get a run back at Craig Baird on the back straight. He had some very, very serious straight line speed. Fogg lying in wait back there in fourth. McIntyre leads at the end of lap number 5.
Craig Baird being defensive, but it's going to be interesting to see what the officials do with that bit of debris that's hanging on the back of Timmy's car. With a bit of luck, common sense will prevail, and they'll just let it go because it shouldn't do any real damage if it comes off into another car. But we don't know what the officials do. Let's see how this pans out. Okay, here we go. Kane Scott, look, the left hand's just going to disappear out of sight. Changing through the gears, second to third, third to fourth. Fourth gear is all they got.
He's chasing down Andy Knight for that 6th position with Paul Manuel just up ahead of Knight off the back wing of the Oryx Commodore. McIntyre, Baird, Edgell, Fogg, battle for 5th between Manuel and Andy Knight. Now, Eddie Bell was one of the big movers in that first race, went from 19th, I think, to the 12th place finish. So that was a good return for Eddie Bell. They've started obviously getting over their setup dramas with the front roll centre on the independent fisheries Ford.
Now you just saw in the background, you saw Andrew Anderson peel in the pit lane. He got deemed to be at fault for that start line incident, so he's coming in to do his drive-through penalty.
So not a good start to the weekend for Andrew Anderson. They've been struggling with car balance with that race car. McIntyre with a 1.1 second advantage over Craig Baird. Edgell just trailing a little bit of rear bumper. I think it's the lower balance skirt on the back bumper.
You're exactly right, Jamie. And to be honest, if the thing goes, it'll probably happen in a straight line because it frees the air up underneath the car.
Yeah, here's a replay. This is all the debris. That's Hayden McKenzie. And, oh, he's gone for a big skate through the S's. So there's more debris through the S's down into Castro.
Yeah, look, this is just not ideal. It's like driving on ice for these guys. And, of course, look, bit of flame going on.
Setting fire to the grass. McKenzie's already struggling with a broken hand. That would not have done him any help. Jason Barguana, he said to me before the start of this race, if he can get with the front bunch off the race start, he thinks he can stay with them. He's starting to get some confidence with that juiced up Rock Energy Drinks Falcon.
He knows how to drive. He's an Australian supercar regular that we know. So it's just a matter of him fine-tuning his style for these cars, because you can't fine-tune the cars for his style. It's the way it goes. So look, he's making big inroads, and it's good to see.
Well, he's in the 8th position. Scott McLaughlin chasing him down in the Super Cheap Auto Commodore. Numbered car number 400 is sponsorship from the ITM 400 at Hamilton, the V8 supercar event. Early on in the new year, back on board with Paul Manuel. A great view right at the front grille of Andy Knight's Century Yuasa, the Rock Ford Falcon. Edgell coming back here at Baird. Just a hint of a brake lock up there from Baird down into the hairpin.
Yeah, and the same with the cars behind. It's the thing about being the car in front. The other cars look like they're catching you and braking later, but it's basically just the Costa-Tina effect. But because Craig's in front, he applies the throttle first, so then the changes are reversed. It looks like he pulls a gap. Essentially, he's in front, he gets to apply the throttle first, makes it look like he's a bit quicker.
So, Mark, after race number 1, did you get any feedback from the teams as to how they felt about the new braking package now under race conditions?
Oh, everybody said they loved it. It's the best thing the class has done for quite some time. What it's going to do, though, for the last race, it's going to bring the tyres into account. Tyre degradation is a big thing, and then because they're limited to 6 tyres for the first round, the tyre teams have to manage that. Pukekohe is just very hard on tyres. It's absolutely no fault at all of the tyre construction. It's just these are big, heavy cars. Tyres doing the best. We've seen it in the Porsches, etc., etc.
So here's our top-performing rookie for the championship, Scott McLaughlin, the young Kiwi, 17 years of age, now domiciled in Queensland in Australia, racing with the Stone Brothers team in the Fujitsu V8 Development Series. He has done an outstanding job. We talked about Martin Short and even William Bamber, who put in a strong qualifying performance. Didn't quite go to plan for Short at the end of race number 1, but this young guy's done an outstanding job in a brand new race car and effectively a brand new race team with Nigel Barclay.
He's silenced me, I must admit. Same with Martin Short. They've come out new to the series in the top 10 straight away. I can't emphasise how big an achievement that is.
Lap 8 of 12, John McIntyre leads from Craig Baird, Tim Edgell and Angus Fogg. We're going to be back with more from Pukekohe with more action from the NZV8s. Scott McLaughlin, there's the face of concentration, 17 years of age, and he's playing with some of the best touring car drivers in Australasia.
Got similar eyebrows to Craig Lowndes, doesn't he?
Yeah, he does look a bit like Lowndesy.
Look, he's just having a look down there, not too sure what he's trying to adjust, but that's a look of concentration and a future champion.
Yeah, Scott McLaughlin doing a great job this weekend, and he's not too far behind the leading group. Here's the 9th place car, John Penny, having a good return here with a top 10. And he's been run by Andy McElrea this weekend, another former Kiwi that's come back to New Zealand.
The reason I laughed at, if Andy McElrea's running these teams in the car in the top 10, there's hope for all of us.
Now, Mark, behave. Here's Paul Manuel trying to hold off Andy Knight and Kane Scott. Just looking at the attitude of Paul Manuel, his car at the moment, he's not quite cracked into the 61s, but he's doing enough to be able to hold off Knight and Scott right now for that 5th position.
Yeah, he's actually holding off. He's kind of pulled a little bit of a gap, but I dare say that's because Andy Knight's been defensive of that position of Kane Scott. Going back, we've said it before, the confidence the Commodore guys can take out of it is that one of the cars has been consistent for the whole race. We haven't seen that for quite some time.
John McIntyre's just done the fastest lap of the race at a 61.625 with the race lead. He's got a 1 second advantage over Craig Baird, who in turn is just 3/10. Well, right on the back bumper of Baird under brakes. But Angus Fogg, is he being conservative? Is he thinking about the championship in these early stages? Because we've just seen Foggy in the past, other things going wrong, things on his mind, just things not going to plan early in the championship in the past.
You've hit the nail on the head. Here we go. He's my beefy battle with Simon Richards, but I believe he has. He knows that it's a reverse grid race coming up next, and if he stays where he is, he's going to have a more favourable starting position. But we've seen this in this position before with Foggy. He stuck his nose in and compromised everybody around him. We're not seeing that now. He's said all the way through, look, I'm going to the gym, I've lost weight, and believe it, it'll be hard for him to lose any weight to begin with.
Well, he's 45 kilos ringing wet.
Yeah, but I think it's upstairs where he's been working hard on, trying to get his demeanour under control in the heat of the battle, and that's working for him.
Well, he's the fittest he ever has been. Just watching Johnny Mac. Every time on the back straight, he makes that mirror adjustment. Is that just part of what he does in the race car?
Oh, here's Tim Edgell trying to suck in Craig Baird there. It's not going to work, though.
They're trying hard under brakes. Baird was a little bit out of shape. There's your top 4 working their way off the hairpin with just a couple of laps left to go. Now, where's Paul Manuel gone out of that group? He was in the 5th spot. Knight and Scott and Bargwanna and McLaughlin have gone by, and Penny. So Paul Manuel's had a problem in that last lap somewhere.
Here he is here. It's
up at the hairpin, down the end of the back straight.
Trying to stay out of everybody's way the best he can.
So has that done a drive line? Oh, that's heartbreak for Paul Manuel. A top 5 gone by the wayside as John McIntyre takes the last lap board. 1 more to go for 2 out of 2 for the weekend. Let's go back a year, Mark. He was in the pits at the start of race 2 last year, and that really hurt him in the first round. Eddie Bell took the round win. Johnny Mack tried to storm back through the field, having started from pit lane, because he missed that pit lane release at the start of the race. Remember that?
Absolutely, and I guarantee the teammate won't make that same mistake again. But here we go. See, there's rubber everywhere. That is a tyre delaminating somewhere. Maybe Paul Manuel's problem.
Well, that was certainly as Fox trying to go the long way around Edgell. A last lap run. He had to go.
That answers your question right there about Foggy going for the championship. In previous years, he just would have stayed there and compromised both cars. He didn't. Oh, Kane Scott's
gone around out of 6th, and I think Angus Fogg's just done one of the fastest laps of the race at a 61.5. But down to the checkered flag, Johnny Mack, 2 for 2 from Craig Baird. The McIntyre team again celebrate. That's a much better result than race 2 last year here at Pukekohe. Well, what a sensational couple of last laps. Paul Manuel, Kane Scott, so that's really going to upset the order. And you've got Jason Bargwanna with a top 6 and Scotty McLaughlin with a 7th place finish. Well, there's no denying John McIntyre, 2 from 2, round 1 of the BNT V8s, race 2 here at Pukekohe. Craig Baird, the defending champion, in 2nd from Tim Edgell, Angus Fogg, Andy Knight 5th, Jason Bargwana, the Australian, in 6th, Scott McLaughlin, the leading rookie, in 7th, with John Penny a strong top 10 finish.